Just when you thought Thermaltake was done with cases for the year, they've got something fresh for you guys. The Level 20 MT. We've had this guy sitting around for a little while. The embargo is lifted and it's time to give you a closer look at the Level 20 MT. I felt like I wanted to change your order up and build first and talk about all the parts right at the end. The motherboard we used for this build is the ASRock X470 Taichi. We've done lots of builds with this board on the channel and I thought that I would use it one last time. We took a closer look at it not too long ago. If you want to check that out, it's in the top right hand corner right about now. The GPU we were going to use was the Gigabyte RTX 2080 Gaming OC. When I fitted the card into the system, it hit the AIO. So we had to use something that was slightly shorter, so I went with the Gigabyte Radeon RX Vega 64 Gaming OC instead. The CPU we used for this build is the AMD Ryzen 7 2700X. This CPU is one of the best bang for buck CPUs of 2018, and I highly recommend it for a balanced gaming or streaming rig. To cool the 2700X, we use the Cooler Master ML240R RGB because the included fans are ARGB and there's an included cable that allows you to actually connect any 3-pin 5-volt ARGB lighting product to Thermaltake's internal RGB hub. Also, yeah, we did an install guide for that cooler if you want to check it out in the top right hand corner right now. The RAM we used is 16 gigs of Team Group T-Force Nighthawk RGB at 3000 MHz. We have quite a few of these kits on rotation at the moment and they're a great bit of memory. Lastly, the case. Well, it's obviously the brand new Thermaltake Level 20 MT. That's it right there. Just be aware, this isn't a review because to be honest with you, I haven't spent a lot of time using it. Even though we've had it for around 6 weeks, there's just something about building in a case so far away from the release date that makes me uneasy. We have lots of our friends come around and I didn't really want them to see it before the release. And yeah, I'll say this one more time. This is not a review. These are just a few little observations. The case was one of the easiest cases that I built in this year, but not without slight modification. The only PSU I had was quite a long one, so I had to remove the 3.5-inch hard drive sleds in the basement. I feel like they could have moved all of the sleds maybe 2 or 3 centimeters forward in the default configuration to allow for big power supplies like the 1200 watt V1200 Cooler Master PSU that we used. Which kind of leads me into the next thing. I like that Thermaltake have started adding PSU basements to hide the standard rat's nest that basically every system has in the bottom. However, cable management on the rear side of the motherboard tray, well, was to put it quite simply, very tight. An extra 1 centimeter of depth would have made the case amazing. But also, that's just my preference too because I always use cable extensions. There's front panel audio, USB, power, reset, and RGB control. However, there is no USB-C connector like the rest of the Level 20 lineup. There are 3 included addressable Rgb fans that can be controlled with the RGB button on the front of the case, like I just mentioned. You can pass your motherboard RGB through to control that as well, and yes, it will work with Aura Sync. They also include another cable that allows you to connect any other ARGB stuff you already have. In this case, it was the fans and pump on the Cooler Master ML240R RGB AIO cooler. One thing I would like to have seen in this regard though is the standard front fans to use a standard ARGB connector and not the proprietary Thermaltake one because you can't control the fan speed. That being said though, the front fans are pretty much dead silent. I like how they added side ventilation for AIO coolers up to 240mm, but just be aware though, if you have a GPU that's over 28 centimeters long, you might have a hard time trying to get that to fit in. Like I mentioned before, we went from an RTX 2080 to a Vega 64 just to get it to fit. There were a few cases this year that had this type of side ventilation, and I predict that it might become a much bigger trend going into 2019. Overall airflow was pretty good from what I observed, although if you guys are interested, I might revisit this in a few weeks. There are intakes along the length of the front edge of the glass front panel, and Thermaltake has already proven that they've got this down to a science. The Level 20 MT looks and feels like a Level 20 case, and that's the point of this case, to feel like it's a part of the Level 20 family. If you're interested in any of the parts in this build, there are links in the description. The Thermaltake Level 20 MT is available worldwide the second you finish watching this video, if you're watching it when we upload it. Otherwise, it's available now. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, you know what to do and tell us what you hated about it. Once again, thank you so very much for watching. I'm your boy Nick with Gear Seekers. You peak, we seek. And I just wanted to mention as well, yesterday, at the time of watching this video, we actually hit 1 million channel views and 8,000 subscribers. So yeah, thank you guys so much. You guys are pretty freaking amazing. Yep, that's all I've got to say about that. But yeah, we love you guys. Most of you. Yeah.